One thing that's clear is the Guthrie family believes there is at least a chance the ransom notes are from Nancy's captor or captors. There's no other explanation for the 3 Instagram videos from Savannah's account where the siblings ask for further communication about how to get their mother home. To help us analyze all this, we wanted to bring in a seasoned hostage negotiator, and it's hard to find someone with more experience than our next guest. Commander Daniel O'Shea is a retired Navy SEAL who served as the coordinator of the hostage working group for the U.S. Embassy in Iraq from 2004 to 2006. O'Shea managed more than 400 hostage incidents in his time in Iraq, and by the time he left, kidnappings had dropped to the single digits. Dan, welcome to the show.
It's my pleasure and honor to be here, Megyn.
Okay, so we're going to play it one more time, the latest video, and get your take on what, if anything, you think has changed here. Here it is. This was released on Saturday night.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
What do you make of it, Dan?
It's heartbreaking. I saw hundreds of these pleas from families from all over the world to try and bring their loved one home that was taken hostage by the likes of Al-Qaeda and other jihadist groups in Iraq. So it's troubling because it's the pain and anguish of not knowing, and it brings back a lot of flashback of a lot of memories. But you can never give up hope. We had cases where there was a deadline set. Presumably, we know this group harmed, Miss Guthrie in the initial abduction because there was blood left at the scene, and we only know what blood was left outside. We don't know anything about what's been done forensically inside the house. So that's my biggest concern, is that the propensity for violence from the get-go is why everyone should be very concerned. And not so much because of the deadline, but because that the group's doing this has already shown they're willing to be violent with an 84-year-old woman, grandmother as well.
So, I mean, one of the big questions here is, are the people torturing the family with these notes the same people that have or hurt Nancy Guthrie 8.5 days ago? I was saying to Brian Enton in the first segment, Dan, I just have a really hard time believing the people writing these notes were involved in Nancy's kidnapping or whatever happened to her. Because I was saying that if I had Nancy Guthrie, if I went to the trouble to kidnap somebody and then wanted to prove to somebody that I had her, I would not be referencing some damaged floodlight or where her Apple Watch was in her home. That's bullshit. That's the kind of stuff you manage to see through a window. And to me, it sounds like you're trying to sound like you know more than you do. If you've got Nancy, you can ask her anything that would prove to her 3 children who know her better than anybody that you actually have her. You don't have to do a picture. You don't need a video. Right. You just need her to tell you things only the children and the mother would remember from their childhoods.
100%, and that's you're not a H&R, a K&R background or hostage negotiator, but I had that suspicion literally from almost day one when the first ransom note came out. First off, they sent the ransom note to TMZ, a tabloid network, and then the local news media. All right, that's not how K&R Kidnap for Ransom works. If kidnapping is a business around the world, and the groups that do the kidnapping, they have the prize. They grab the prize, and they want to keep that prize protected. And they want to demonstrate to the prospective buyer, payer, that we have who you're looking for. Let's start the negotiation. And you come out with a large number. That $4 million initial to $6 million, the latest ransom demand, that's not outside the norm range for an American, because that's, this is a big business. And because obviously Savannah Guthrie, big news network, morning show host, she's going to have the resources to probably come up with that kind of money, and that's what they're counting on. But then you've got to negotiate in good faith. And from no way, shape, or form has the group that is claiming to hold her been operating in good faith. And the fact that they haven't been able to provide a substantive proof of life, or even trying to submit some AI version of it, which could have been, suspect that they're trying to do this. But I am suspect that the group that has her is the group that took her responsible for abduction is the group that is sending these messages. They may be related, but I really think this is part of the show and drama to drive up this news media story. And why is that happening? Let's go to the underlying motives. And the motives may not be money. And I don't think it's money they want here. I think they want the news media attention, focus on this case, to maybe get some other news stories off the net. And then go, why did they target, Samantha Guthrie? And you have to look at, well, she's not a controversial figure like yourself, or say a Candace Owen, where you have people on the left or right. I mean, just being honest, that you've got enemies. You've got people that don't like you. But, Savannah Guthrie is, I don't watch her morning show, but I know who she is. And she's like a very nice lady. And, what's the most controversial thing she's ever done? Maybe some of her interviews in the past.
Well, I mean, she's not controversial, but that doesn't rule out some freak stalker who just interpreted some report she did as an attack or as some sort of, that element is still alive and well around her. And we can't rule that out, that it's some stranger who's obsessed with her.
Oh, of course. But then why are you going after the mother unless you're trying to hurt her? So who has a reason to want to hurt Savannah Guthrie? Wouldn't it be the list would not be long. But go to some of her interviews, and I'm not the one coming up with this, because this conversation I've had, with virtually everyone I've talked to, especially offline, when you don't have a 2-minute segment on a news channel. She interviewed a lot of the Epstein victims, in-depth interviews with Virginia Giuffre and some of the other women. And what came out a week before this abduction, days before, the Epstein files. All over the news, and now what is taken over the news media? And maybe that was done intentionally. I'm not saying that's the case, but there's more to this group. I do not think it's a traditional kidnap for ransom. They're not demonstrating any of the things that are normally associated with people that are in the kidnapping business to make money. And I think it's the media attention. But you have to go into it that there are evil people out there that will do terrible things to wonderful human beings. I dealt with that. We had a woman in Iraq. Her name was Margaret Hassan. She was the director of Care International. She was a 5'1", 180-pound Irish woman who'd lived in Iraq for 20 plus years and married a local. She lived the fourth pillar of Islam, which is zakat. She gave alms to the poor. She fed the poor. She was a beloved woman, and that did not protect her. She was murdered by her captors. And I'm one of the few Americans who sadly had to watch that execution video, and it was very troubling, very sad. So there's evil in the world, and no matter how good you are, that doesn't protect you from someone that wants to hurt you.
So if you were advising this family at this point, and we are told that the second note did not contain proof of life, that they're revealing very little about it, but we are told it did not contain proof of life. And we know the first letter said they had Nancy and claimed she was alive, I believe, but did not have proof of life. You saw the video from the family begging for such proof after they received the first note. Would you advise them to pay? Because right now it's the day of the deadline, 5 p.m. tonight, and TMZ is just reporting that the Bitcoin account allegedly set up to accept these funds is empty as of this time this morning. It's unclear how long it typically takes accounts to update, they write, but as of now, the confirmed balance in the publicly viewable account stands at 0 with no transactions recorded. So at least as of almost 1 p.m. Eastern time, the family has not made any deposits into the Bitcoin account. How would you advise them?
Well, this is just very harsh, and it's only comes from experience, because I think someone evil enough to hurt an 84-year-old woman makes me lean, okay. My initial thoughts again a week ago was a cartel involved in this, because the close proximity to the Arizona Mexican border, the fact that I know the cartels have no problem with kidnapping. They're beyond Al Qaeda. They're probably the biggest kidnapping ring out there. Formerly the FARC had that title. So was that a connection to the FARC, to the cartels, because they have a propensity to violence? They have kidnapped young social media influencers in Mexico and murdered them. So they're not above the thought. But I always started with the notion, especially when I would talk to the ambassadors from these countries where they had hostages, I would always be upfront with them and say, sir, you have to begin with the presumption that your citizens that have been kidnapped by this group claiming to be affiliated with Al Qaeda or whoever, that they're not coming home. You have to start with that presumption. And the fact that this group has not shown proof of life, and I really think the media is what they're going for. So we had deadlines come and go with Al Qaeda. Jill Carroll, that young Christian Science reporter, 28-year-old girl, American girl, she had deadlines come and go, and she was ended up brought home after 83 days of captivity because of pressure put on by special forces, the unit that went out every night to hunt for her. And she was brought home safely because the unit, the kidnapping ring finally threw their hands up and said, maybe if we give her up, these bad dudes will stop coming after us. And that's ultimately what happened. So the family, I would strongly recommend to not pay the ransom, not pay any of it, because I don't think I think that'd be money going into the wind for nothing, because I don't trust. There's no trust and good faith between this group and the family, and they've shown none of it, and they're just torturing Savannah and her family. And I would be blunt enough to speak to the family that let's start with the presumption that your mother did not survive the initial abduction, and this may have been a home invasion that went wrong, may have been a stalker, as you said, to do the same. But I would recommend strongly against paying the ransom today by that deadline.
International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.